Now let's take a look at another option. We'll close out these views that we've opened up. Let's take a look at the second traverse in this file called closed loop back to Backsight plus a foresight. Let's click on the option to display just this traverse. And we see that what we've done here is we've started at point 11 and we've closed back out on point 12, which is our Backsight. So 15 is the same as 12, and then we've included a closing measurement to 16, which is the same as 11, or our initial point. So we haven't actually come back to our initial point in closing this traverse, but we have come back to the initial Backsight. And Traverse PC considers that to be a closed loop as well. The other thing I want to mention here, or have you take a look at, is that see how in the description we've said for point 15 equals 12, and for point 16 we've said equals 11. Traverse PC is going to use this information to completely populate the closing angle information and the closing points. Now the great thing about this is that that equal can be used for redundant observations in a least squares network. So setting up a traverse this way automatically sets up my closure information, plus it establishes redundant observations in case I want to do a least squares network adjustment. So I've got kind of the best of both worlds here, and of course I can do this on most data collectors. Most data collectors will allow me to say equals 12 or equals 11 in the description, and then add any additional description that I want. So let's go into the closure view for this, and let's take a look at what Traverse PC decided for us automatically. In the Traverse summary, I see once again that this is a closed loop. So Traverse PC said, even though you're closing back on the Backsight and not the initial point, I still consider that to be a closed loop, and computes the acreage by forcing the closure for me back to the initial point. Then in the error summary, Traverse PC tells me I've closed flat, and in just a moment we'll go in and check our closing angles. And then down here at the closing point, it shows me that I'm starting at 11, I'm closing at 15, and the correct closing point is 12. So it pulled that point 12 out of the description. Let's come into our settings now. Let's start here by telling Traverse PC that, or looking to see that it's set it up for a closed loop. It's established my closing points, 15 and 12, and now I can come into the closing angle here. Traverse PC has actually pulled this 90-degree angle out of the traverse. So it takes that last shot to what equals point 11 and says I can pull in the closing angle out of that. Let's come in and just change that a moment, and let's come in and put in a slightly different closing angle and see what happens. Let's come back here now and see that here's our 90 degrees in 15 seconds. Traverse PC has everything else it needs to compute the correct closing angle. And now I've got my closure information updated.